Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4, 2008, the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.
Welcome to Prairie Mosaic, a patchwork of stories about the arts, culture, and history in our region.
Hi, I'm Barb Gravel.
And I'm Bob Danbeck. On this edition, we'll revisit a 100-year-old tornado, talk to a political filmmaker, and listen to a musician from Minneapolis.
Oh my Lordy, how get you off of my mind?
Poetry Out Loud is a high school program that encourages students to learn about poetry while they master public speaking skills and build self-confidence. Emily Gilsrud of Wahpeton High School was the 2019 North Dakota State Poetry Out Loud champion.
They got old. They got old and died. But first they composed plangent depictions of how much they lost. Poetry Out Loud is a competition where you recite poems and compete against kids all over the state. The stages of competition, you first start in your classroom level, and then you move on to the school-wide level, and then we went on to state. I was actually able to go to state every year of my high school career, so that was really cool. The judges look for how well you understand the poem, if they can tell by the way you're speaking and articulation. All of the poems that you can choose from are on the Poetry Out Loud website. Some of the things you have to look for your poems is one has to be pre-20th century, and then the other one has to be fewer than 25 lines. I just kind of choose by a lot of clicking the random poem button, and then my teachers also sometimes suggest poems too. Light, more light. The shadows deepen and my life is ebbing low. Throw the windows widely open. Light, more light before I go. Softly let the balmy sunshine play around my dying bed. Ere the dimly lighted valley, I with lonely feet must tread. I was very nervous before the first poem, but once I got the first one over with, I felt a lot better.
It gives me great pleasure to announce our 2019 North Dakota State Champion, Emily Gilsrud, Wahpeton High School.
Honestly, I kind of thought poetry was boring. I've just been able to find different kind of poetry, and not all of them are like rhymey, and they can be really interesting actually, and are able to explain emotion so well, and it's really cool. My advice for people would be just to step out of your comfort zone. If you're nervous about speaking in front of people, Poetry Out Loud will give you a lot of confidence. I've gained a lot of confidence performing in front of people, and it's been an amazing experience. She arrived at the country mansion in a silver limousine. She'd sent out invitations and everything. Her name written twice with ampersand in the middle. The calligraphy of coupling. She strode down the aisle to At Last by Etta James, faced the celebrants like a keen soldier reporting for duty, her voice shaky, yet sure. Poetry Out Loud has been a huge part of my high school career, and I definitely encourage you all to just try out poetry. I'm so glad I did, and I've learned so much about speaking in front of people and also being able to analyze poetry a lot better. It'll definitely be with me for the rest of my life. Quite Frankly by Mark Halliday is about a couple that passed away, and this person's talking about their life, and he's like, okay, they died, but look at how many beautiful memories they have now in these photo albums. Quite Frankly by Mark Halliday. They got old. They got old and died. But first they composed plangent depictions of how much they lost and how much cared about losing. Meantime, their hair got thin and more thin as their shoulders went slumpy. Okay, but not before the photo albums got arranged by them. Arranged with a niftiness. Not just 2 or 3, but 18 photo albums. Yes, 18 eventually. 18 albums proving the beauty of them and not someone else. Them and their relations and friends. Incontrovertible. Playing croquet in that Bloomington yard, floating on those comic inflatables at Dow Lake. Giggling at the Dairy Queen, waltzing at the wedding, building a Lego palace on the porch. Holding the baby beside the rental truck, leaning on the Hemingway statue at Pamplona, discussing the eternity of art in that Sardinian restaurant. Yes. And so, quite frankly, at the end of the day, they got old and died. Okay, sure, but quite frankly, how much does that matter in view of the 18 photo albums, big ones, 13 inches by 12 inches, each full of such undeniable beauty?
The Fergus Falls cyclone of 1919 devastated the community and surrounding areas. The Otter Tail County Museum in Fergus Falls turns back the clock with an exhibit marking the 100th anniversary of this event.
Weather just suddenly changed. The wind that came up blew the front door open. When all at once it got dark and everything went black, and that was it.
It's the 100th anniversary of the Fergus Falls cyclone, June 22nd, 1919, the single most impactful event in the history of Fergus Falls. So to commemorate this event, we've put together this exhibit. So far it's been received very nicely. A lot of people like it, lots of information. The photographs are wonderful. And of course there's some artifacts from the tornado, and we're pleased with it.
There were reports of a lot of rumbling going on. There were also reports of people just knowing. There was this eeriness of the day. In fact, lots of people said they knew something was going to happen. They knew that a storm was going to happen. They, of course, had no idea of how large of a storm it would be.
So about 4:50, 4:52, the first funnel cloud appeared and touched down in the community. It touched down, and we believe there were 2 tornadoes, or 2 accounts of 2 funnel clouds that hit Fergus Falls. And there was no warning system, of course, no radio, no TV to tell people, so people scrambled for safety as best they could.
There is a debate over how many funnels and the path. There is some still debate going on. The newspapers right after the storm reported that the first funnel touched down 3 blocks south of the state hospital and came down that corridor of Vine Street, and then another branched off and went around the northern and then east side of Lake Alice. Most of the destruction that occurred was in that heart of the city, Vine and Lincoln area. The death toll is still hard to be completely precise on. We think if we say 58, that's pretty close. There's a couple families that really were hard hit with deaths. One of the families that comes to my mind, the Kreitzer family, who lost some teenage children. And then the Palm family, the mother, father, and one of the children died, leaving 3 small children.
One of the biggest buildings that was destroyed was the Grand Hotel. A number of deaths occurred at the Grand Hotel. Within a few minutes, the 2 tornadoes wreaked havoc on the city of Fergus Falls, destroying or damaging much of the community. Over 50 people were killed, hundreds injured, and it forever altered the landscape of the community.
This storm happened on a Sunday, and the fact that it happened on a Sunday was actually a good thing because a lot of people were out of town. People were not in their businesses. People were not in the schools. And so that actually was a very good thing and probably kept the death toll down. Our logo design, we used a WPA project painting, and it is of the destruction of the Catholic Church. The cyclone blew out the center of the Catholic Church, and so I think that was something to illustrate this storm. We have hundreds of photographs, and so it just meant that we needed to look through those and make some subjective decisions. But anybody that wanted to see more could come and use our library to view even more cyclone photographs. We probably have about 500, I would say, in our collection.
A lot of the photographs were taken by a man named W.T. Oxley. He was a photographer. He lived up on North Cleveland. When the storm hit, he and his family went to their cellar. Immediately after the storm, he picked up his camera, loaded it on his truck, and went out into the streets of Fergus Falls and documented the damage literally within minutes of the tornado. Cyclone and tornado were kind of used interchangeably. I mean, they are 2 different things. It's about the rotation of the winds. Except the next day in the Fergus Falls Daily Journal, the term cyclone hits Fergus Falls. And so we've kind of historically used the term cyclone, even though it's incorrect because it was a tornado, but the term cyclone kind of stuck. It was just immediate recovery, taking care of the injured and of the dead, but really literally within a few days, the recovery process began. It was remarkable the recovery effort took place very quickly. Within months, the Union Avenue and Court Street bridges were rebuilt. You had the county courthouse rebuilt in 1922. You had the Great Northern Depot rebuilt in the early 20s. Literally, I think within months, the community was rebuilding. So you see a lot of activity taking place by 1920.
If you really study these pictures, you kind of go, wow, how is Fergus Falls still here? Because this storm destroyed 2/3 of our city. But you know what it also does? It just tells us the resilience of the people. They all rebuilt. All that was destroyed was rebuilt, and it was rebuilt even better.
In 1978, John Hanson set out to produce a low-budget movie about the beginning of North Dakota's nonpartisan league. We talked with Hanson about the making of this groundbreaking film, Northern Lights.
We shot this film in no time at all for no money.
You're going to be sold on it too. Next few months are going to be critical.
Oh, come on. Don't get started on the league again.
My grandfather told me stories about the Nonpartisan League when I was a kid because I spent summers on the farm. I didn't know what it was. We didn't study it in high school, as far as I remember. So I really didn't know a thing about it. And so that was the first nugget, was way back when, of course, I didn't even have any idea of becoming a filmmaker. And then as time went on and I joined Cine Manifest, Rob and I were partners, I decided I want to make a movie in North Dakota. What do you make a movie about? Hey, the Nonpartisan League.
So, when I became 21, I followed in my father's footsteps and went up to northwestern North Dakota.
But Henry Martinson was the key. You're talking about an extraordinary man. We couldn't have done the film without him. And of course, he's in the film. You know, he plays the storyteller at the beginning and the end. You know, we would write a script for him, and he'd say, well, what if we say it this way? You know, he was a great writer, poet, you know, union man.
What will you say?
Yes.
Because there's only 3 actors in the film. The rest are all North Dakota farmers and people we met along the way. And that was purposeful. I mean, because we wanted to tell the story of the League from the inside, from the point of view of the small farmer, like my grandfather. We didn't want to tell it from the top down, and we didn't want to stand back at a distance. What we really wanted to do was to get inside what it was like to be a farmer at that time and have this league come around, somebody coming to your door, hey, we want you to join up. Wait a minute here.
Hello, Inga. You come for dinner?
Well, you know, we were lucky because we met people, the farmers and the small town people, who were so themselves, and we wrote parts for them, you know, that fit them. And they were fearless, and they were terrific. You know, the mother and father, the Nesses from up by Crosby, up by Ambrose, they'd never acted before. So yes, it's a feature film, but it has the realism of a documentary. It has and that was purposeful. Some people use the word docudrama, but it was all scripted. All these people had to learn lines.
All right, let me ask you fellas a question then. If you buy a pound of coffee, who sets the price for that coffee?
God only knows, Ray.
And it's person to person. You know, it isn't just speeches. You come out to the farm, you talk to the people, his neighbor is sitting beside you. That's a way of organizing that the socialists actually came up with. You know, the League finally came to their rescue. And because they're genius at organizing, they were able to take over the state.
Var ska vi nu ta vägen?
Jag ska visa dig något.
Both Rob and I, Scandinavians, love Bergman. And I'd seen all of Bergman's films by then. In fact, when I was in college, I was the projectionist. This is in the 60s, when the Bergman films were just coming into this country. But you know, when you're out in that prairie with that huge sky, you feel about this high, right? And so the whole notion was to have the landscape against the people and vice versa, so that you were always a sense that you were in this huge, vast space. And in a way, it was a metaphor for the powerlessness they had. You know, we didn't want to have a Hollywood look to it. It wasn't going to be like Citizen Kane, you know. We wanted a gritty look, and you know, and that's why farmers are in their own garb, and they're not shaven, and we're out there in the dirt with them. Well, when we finished Northern Lights, there were no independent distributors. We had to distribute it ourselves. So we went around town to town. Who owns a movie theater? You know, hello, we got a movie that's going to come out, would you book it? And we started, of course, in Crosby. Dakota Theater in Crosby was the premiere in July of 1978. And then we went to all the little towns around there, and it spread across North Dakota. Well, of course, the premiere night at Crosby was unbelievable because all the people in the film were in the audience. And then word starts to spread, hey, what's this, you know? So we got a booking in Minneapolis. That was our first big city booking. And then we applied to the Cannes Film Festival, just because, why not, you know? Never expecting to get in, but got to do it. And got accepted, and went there. I mean, talk about rookies. Went there and ran around trying to get people to see the movie, and then we win a prize. And once we won the prize, that was what propelled it to be at bookings all over the country and back in the United States.
But then the late mail train came in. The rural vote had turned things around.
And so it touched a nerve. Just like the Nonpartisan League had touched a nerve back in the old days, Northern Lights in some way touched the same nerve with these small town people. And then, of course, went on to be seen all over the world after that.
Born and raised in Minneapolis, this hard-working musician taught himself how to play the guitar at the age of 11. Since then, Luc LeBlanc has received awards, opened for several mainstream bands, and released EPs with his infectious style of original acoustic music.
People ask why I hurt so bad. I got what I wanted and I lost what I had. Rainy nights make the heartache slow. We were 2 lanes driving on a 1-lane road. I got the same blues I can't shake. I got the same blues, it's my mistake. I'm walking in the same shoes, hoping they don't break. I got the same blues I can't shake. I could run fast and far away, fool myself into working all day. But the fever in my bones, it won't die young. My gear's jammed and my body's numb. I got the same blues I can't shake. I got the same blues, it's my mistake. I'm walking in the same shoes, hoping they don't break. I got the same blues I can't shake. Driving at midnight gets me lonesome. I didn't know love until I had some. She didn't like my occupation. It was a drive-away situation. I got the same blues I can't shake. I got the same blues, it's my mistake. I'm walking in the same shoes, hoping they don't break. I got the same blues I can't shake. All my dreams are made from money. All my friends are dollar signs. Why don't you go and grab the honey? I think I'm sick of turpentine. Oh my lordy, how I get you off of my mind. Dropped a $20 bill on a cheap box of cherry red wine. You're everything I lose and all that I hope to find. Oh my lordy, how I get you off of my mind. I'm just a speck in the sunshine. I'm just a grain in the field. I hide my sorrow in the nighttime, and I'm fake when everybody's real. Oh my lordy, how I get you off of my mind. Dropped a $20 bill on a cheap box of cherry red wine. You're everything I lose and all that I hope to find. Oh my lordy, how I get you off of my mind. Oh my lordy, I get you off of my mind. Dropped a $20 bill on a cheap box of cherry red wine. You're everything I lose and all that I hope to find. Oh my lordy, I get you off of my mind. Oh my lordy, I get you off of my mind.
If you know of an artist, a topic, or an organization in our region that you think might make for an interesting segment, please contact us at prairiemosaic@prairiepublic.org.
You can watch this and other episodes of Prairie Mosaic on Prairie Public's YouTube channel. And please follow Prairie Public on social media as well. I'm Barb Gravel.
And I'm Bob Dambach. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Prairie Mosaic.
Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.